Now, you've heard about the new GMO studies where they found that Monsanto's genetically engineered corn was causing tumors in rats in the first ever scientifically peer-reviewed long-term study that is longer than 90 days. All of the studies favoring Monsanto or the other genetically engineered companies supposedly showing that GMOs are safe to eat have all been short-term studies, very tightly controlled with blinders on, to say, yes, it was safe this time, let's launch it, let's fast-track approve it, let's go. Now, you've got this French scientist coming out with the first long-term study showing these rats over the course of their lives over many more months than the studies previously held, and it shows that this stuff is dangerous. We know that from other studies that were not done by the genetically engineered companies, but those were all tossed aside, smeared in the media, and now they're predictably smearing this study. Once again, you've got Monsanto launching a campaign to do damage control over this GMO study, linking it to cancer, organ failure, and what have you. Paul Joseph Watson has the detailed report, but you've got to look at the fact that Monsanto, Coca-Cola, Pepsi, and the other GMO firms pushing this stuff on the general public are spending $19 million. I read in one article it was $25 million just in California to keep labeling away, to not label the fact that ingredients contain genetically modified organisms. I thought it was safe. What's the big deal? Well, they know the public is aware. They've heard about GMO being dangerous, and they know if it's on the labels, that's going to hurt their sales. So make food available that doesn't have GMOs. People would readily buy it. But they're afraid of it being on the label and cutting into their monopolistic game to put everyone in the population on that kind of food supply. And so if it's safe, why are they trying to keep this stuff hidden? That's all in the article. And again, going into the details of the French study, they found that 50% of males, 70% of females fed this diet developed tumors within I think it was 19 months in most cases, and some of the other rats also developed tumors and cancers, but not nearly as quickly as the rats fed this GMO corn. And with this kind of damning evidence, they're just trying to attack the messenger. Well, you've got the article in Reuters where the scientist Gilles Eric Serenellini of the University of Caen is defending his study and saying he's waiting for criticism from real scientists, other scientists who've actually published materials in journals on the effects of GMOs and pesticides in order to debate this issue fairly. And he says if there's real criticism, bring it. But what he's been brought, the criticism you've seen in the media in the past week trying to spin the study comes from lobbyists. And you look at Bill Gates Foundation, you look at Monsanto, they're funding in many cases the actual scientific journals, giving them mega grants that completely is a conflict of interest, does not lend itself to peer-reviewed real science, and really aims to do a disservice against the public and keep them in the dark by design, of course. It's a case-by-case deal, but Jeffrey M. Smith has been on the show many times. He's just put out this new video, Genetic Roulette. It's an accompaniment to his detailed book, Genetic Roulette. There's also Scientists Under Attack, GMO Trilogy. The point I'm trying to make here is the dangers of GMO are well known. The dangers of GMO are well known. They know it causes organ failure. They know it causes sterility, infertility. They know it's causing these long-term problems. There's been other studies, but the media has spun them, hid them, keeping them in the dark. In some cases, going back decades, they physically destroyed, flooded, damaged computers, laboratories where they were conducting research that didn't lend itself to the official story promoted by the big agriculture giants. And it's just disgusting. One example of that showed up yesterday on the Alex Jones Show when Mike Adams was hosting. He had on Anthony Giucciardi of Natural Society. And let's just take a look at that clip, some of the stuff said in that letter.
But here's this email, and I've taken out the expletive words, the curse words that's littered, all caps, a lot of these words. You may see it on the screen. Here it is. I am no traitor against humanity. If this expletive causes infertility, awesome, with 3 exclamation points. Awesome. It's awesome it causes infertility. The world is overpopulated, and people need to stop having children. This is one of the Earth's largest problems. If the Earth wasn't overpopulated, things like growth hormones wouldn't exist. The reason they do is that the Earth cannot produce enough food on its own to feed us all. This is why GMO is actually saving the planet. And then you can see how angry he is when he says, so expletive you and your expletive. You can imagine what that means. I am doing humanity, this is all caps, a expletive favor.
We're showing the email on screen for those of you watching on prisonplanet.tv. I am doing humanity a blank favor. That is
favor. Yes, all caps as well.
And you have confirmed that this is from the scientific, let's just say, I'm not going to give the name, but an entity very well known in the scientific community, and I've independently confirmed that as well.
It's one of the top 3. We'll just say that.
All right.
It's someone that was so upset that they didn't take the necessary steps to protect themselves that they may have known about. They were just so enraged. You can tell from this email, this guy's talking from pure hatred. And he says things like, if the world wasn't so overpopulated, things like growth hormones wouldn't exist.
And again, that is shocking stuff that just gives away the true attitude of the elite towards the population they're supposedly doing the best they can for. And it's just more evidence. We've got to stop this GMO. This has got to be a huge issue. People need to spread news about this study everywhere. We cannot let the media spin this issue. We know the truth. It's in these other studies. We've just got to compile it and get it out to the public before it's too late. So we turn now to the daily quote, which is related. It comes out of a university professor under genetics. In an ecosystem, you can always intervene and change something in it. But there's no way of knowing what all the downstream effects will be or how it might affect the environment. We have such a miserably poor understanding of how the organism develops from its DNA that I would be surprised if we don't get one rude shock after another. That's Professor Richard Lewontin, professor of genetics at Harvard, and that says it all right there. They thought 96% of our DNA was junk. They've told us they can just manipulate GMO organisms and feed them to animals, and it doesn't matter what the consequences are. Doesn't matter if it's causing new foodborne allergies. Doesn't matter if it's a total genocidal epidemic. Just we know best. We're the scientists. We're the elite. I'm furious about this, but I'm going to go now to Alex's extended update. He's got all kinds of news coverage, and then after that, a powerful interview. Stay tuned. This is the InfoWars Nightly News. You can support us, of course, at prisonplanet.tv, and you can create your own channel of information and help get the word out at planetinfowars.com. Thanks for watching.